Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody, and or good evening, everybody. But most importantly, Happy New Year, everybody. I am Dom of X, comicreleases.com assistant editor and manager of Near Mint Condition. And today we are starting off the year fresh with March solicitations and the previews catalog for all of the independent solicitations. And of course, I am joined by two very, very amazing people with me, as per the usual, and one more at the end of the month when we do the ones for April. Of course, to my right is
me, Joe
Yes.
Talks Comics. Talk to friends about the comics that we're reading and enjoying, plus creator interviews and solo episodes, including each month I pick up my top 5 picks from just all the solicitations from every publisher, which has been a lot of fun to do since I started it. So available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of those platforms. And thank you again, Dom, for having me.
No, thank you for being here. And of course, you can find Joe. Thank you to James for putting in all of the links as well. And I'll get, once he puts the podcast up, I will put that in there. And to my bottom is...
To your bottom.
Not again.
Taylor.
I said it again.
Taylor Talks Comics.
Dom, don't ask us challenge impossible.
Taylor Talks Comics. You can find me on YouTube. I'm sure James has the link in there, which is wonderful as always. Super producer James. I am on the road to 3,000 subscribers, so I could use your help if anybody wants to subscribe that happens to be watching this. But I'm glad to ring in the new year with you guys and talk about some non-Big Two comics.
No, I can't wait for that as well. And also, if anybody here is in the chat, let us know what you're reading. We would love to see what you're reading indie wise, as far as this goes. And yes, I was I was recently on my own channel doing a live stream with Jake for the last 2 hours, and literally 5 minutes in, I was like, oh shoot, I got to get prepared for the Near Mint one. So I had to change my shirt. I had to redo my hair. And
dang,
yeah,
did a full costume change.
Indeed. I also, and I'm still not done yet because after this, I have to record I just finished this not too long ago. This is the Aquaman DC Finest.
How was it?
You know what? Still, Super Friends gave Aquaman a really bad rep in this time, because Super Friends, like, Aquaman is a lot more, he's a lot more ferocious and also better handled in this book than the joke that he's treated in every single piece of media since this got published.
Interesting.
So
how does that measure up to the other Silver Age DC runs you've read so far?
This is better than JLA, I think.
Okay.
Because a lot of these are like short 5-6 page stories. A lot of them are backups, right?
Yeah.
Backups in adventure comics. And I found a lot of them to be like uniquely enjoyable. Also, like, not as bad a binge as I thought it would be.
Those kind of make quick reading when you get to those Silver and Gold Age comics that, like, they usually pack in like 4 or 5 stories into one issue back then. So then when it's collected like that, you only have like a 4 or 5 page strip.
Right.
I felt the same about like Volume 1 of Captain America Omnibus. That's when it shared the title with Iron Man. So they're like 10 to 11 page strips, and there's like real, like, kind of snappy. You only have to do beginning, middle, and end within that 10 pages or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, they make kind of quick reading, surprisingly.
It does indeed.
Nice.
And also,
yeah, before I was just catching up on that stream with the latest Finest Fridays with you and Curtis, because I haven't got to that yet. So it was just fun to hear your thoughts, because I haven't actually got to either of my DC Finest that I've got yet.
Yeah, it's coming out tomorrow, I think. So I can't wait to talk about this book and everything that's in it. But otherwise, if you did see on the thumbnail, I knew I had to pick that specific book, and I can't wait to talk about it. I also think the rest of us can't, because obviously it has been one of the biggest, if not the biggest, comic to come out in the last 1.5 years. But we will get there when we get there. Yes, my name is Starscream, and my favorite store is on the Citadel. And yes, these are new solicitations. These are part of the March catalog. So these are books that might have shown up otherwise in Edelweiss or Penguin Random House, but haven't been formally solicited yet. So these are brand new books that we are going to be talking about today. Yes, we hope everybody is doing well. And hello to you, Chris Brogan. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Happy New Year. And there are a lot of amazing indie books that are being published right now. I mean, Image, Adventures in Poor Taste at Apolgia. I know that we talked about this before at
Yes.
some point where it was like Image was well in the Marvel/DC. I'm enjoying Image as much as these, and it's very nice to see independent competitors and also the creators who are on these books get the spotlight.
Yeah, comics is
As
finally
for the-
getting back to that point where like golden age era before Comics Code, there was like the superhero genre was not the only genre of comics that was popular. Like romance comics were super popular, selling in issues were selling 200, 300,000 copies each issue. Like horror and sci-fi, war comics were great. Funny animal comics were huge back then too. So then after Comics Code and when everything had to be like dumbed down for a smaller audiences, more sanitized and that parents would approve of, unfortunately, it made it the superhero like genre was the genre for American comics, and then it became that way for up until like the last 10 years. It seems like we're finally getting to the point where not just one or two titles leak in, like because in like the 90s and early aughts we had like Walking Dead and Bone, like these smaller, some titles would leak through and not be superheroes, but now we're getting to the point where it's like there's a lot of options that are very prevalent and very easily accessible for comic book readers that are not just superheroes.
Right, exactly. And
yeah,
also,
I mean, I was just going to say, as I always say, my point is just basically just split three ways between Marvel, DC, and Image. I think maybe Image with a slight lead on Marvel and DC, but which is always fun to have that mix in there.
Yeah, well, you always want to see the creators do their best work too on books that they can say that they own or have the rights to, or characters that like they enjoy the most, right? And to see like Kyle Higgins having a blast on Radiant Black, or Rick Remender on the Sacrificiers, or anything out from Giant Generator, or even books like Beneath the Trees, or like stuff like that with everybody else out in the industry. You want to see people do their best work there. And that I think has been really nice to see, like over the last 2 years, just sort of this regrowth of creator infused and love titles that they themselves can say, I have the rights to Radiant Black, nobody else does. And that's a very nice thing to see overall. But we do have, so people are currently reading Babe in the Woods by Julie Heffernan and The Agency by Katie Skelly.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Interesting. Just finished Memories of the Civil War, English editions of the Cinebooks, same creative team as the Chimpanzee Complex from the Partwork Comics reader. Hi all. Hello, Karsten K. Taking a break from work. I'm reading Gail Simone's Red Sonja at the moment. Just finished Radiant Black Volume 6 and finishing The One Hand and the Six Fingers. I cannot wait to read The One Hand and the Six Fingers. Yeah, by Ramvi and Dan Waters. Yeah, that's been one on my list for a very, very long time.
Oh, that's the one that's like 3 different stories, right? Yes, there was a couple people that put that in on the Near Mint Edition year-end video.
Yeah,
which everybody should go watch that. It's where Omar does a great thing every year where he has like a bunch of different YouTubers put this video together where they each kind of go over their favorite read of the year. And that one I think showed up 3 times, I feel like.
Yeah, it popped up quite a bit, which I was like very super happy to see.
Yeah, that video is always really cool too. The first year we did that, there was not a single book repeated once, which is amazing. They have like there are 20 to 30 people talking about their favorite read of the year, and none of them were the same. Then a couple we still have pretty diverse, but I think this year that one came up, and then Absolute Batman was the one that came up the most.
Yeah. Yeah, which again, like Absolute Batman, I think you're getting to. I think Joe would agree with this, like the absolute ultimate universe of creators having more of a say on what the characters stand for and how they're going to be influenced in those specific universes that aren't tethered to continuity, while still keeping the base and core of the character intact. It's just been a great thing to see for comics. And to see people come back to those series too, whether you're reading Kelly Thompson's Absolute Wonder Woman or Denise Camp's Ultimates, or Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men. It's been a very nice thing to see.
Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men is my favorite of the bunch that you just listed off.
No,
It's so
really
much
good.
fun.
Yeah, it's my favorite of the Ultimate titles.
It's really good. Reading through the first volume of Ishida no Joe. Okay.
I love this. Everybody keep commenting what you're reading because this is really cool. That's a book I need to pick up.
Before we get into the
Yeah.
solicits, yeah. As long as you're going to be in front of the camera all day anyway, you mind filming a few bit. If you pay well, Bunk, I might. After listening to the stream while knocking out the first lift session of the year after mostly, you know what? That's good. I need to get back into that because I have not, because of finals week and also work. I have not been working out and my muscles have deflated a bit, so I need to get back to that. The second I saw the Starscream, we can't wait to talk about it. That is a for sure. Pretty excited for Lucky Devils coming out of this week too. I loved 8 Billion Genies, so I'm sure I'm gonna like this too. A lot of people have been really liking Lucky Devils, from my understanding.
Oh, is that by Sewell and Ryan Brown too?
Yeah, same creative team.
I like curse words a lot. I still need to read 8 Billion Genies though.
8 Billion Genies is awesome. It is great to see a wide range of comics. Brought up that poll, not that I deserve any special credit or anything, but go buy Iron Man in celebration of my Oh, John. We are going to be covering Image, so there might be a surprise or two. We shall see. I was sad that nobody repeated my pick of Anzuelo. Really want more people to check that book out.
Oh, Bunk, you put it on my radar. It's on my want list. I need to pick that up.
James, sir, how would I ever? Oh, here's an interesting question that we can delve in for a bit. Should store divide books by genre instead of publisher?
I mean, I would definitely for kids' books, like all ages or kids' books should definitely have a section. I think every comic book store in America should have a big giant Dogman poster on the window.
I agree. Mine does.
I think that's especially with the new movie coming out. There's a new Dogman movie coming out.
Oh yeah.
But anything to get people from the outside coming in. But as far as different topic. Divide by genre. I do like that idea. I also like the idea of having like the little reader cards on it that says like if you like this movie or whatever, you'll like this book. Although not the Barnes and Noble one. If I could just go on a rant for a second here.
Sure.
The Barnes and Noble cards in there that are written by the employees and they're like telling you about the book. I absolutely despise those. They're not funny. These employees are not comedians. And they're always like these like tongue-in-cheek, like funny jokes about the book, but they don't actually sell the book. The joke is for people that have read the book already because you would understand it. It'd be like Batman. If it was like Batman, it would say like a child movie fan parents. I don't know. It would say something like joke about how like he's an orphan and lost his parents and now he's fighting crime, but it would be like a jokey part of it. It'd be like kid goes sees a movie and then his life gets ruined or something like that. It doesn't tell you anything about Batman or who he is, but it's like a joke that like, oh, if you know Batman, you get the joke. But these point of these little things are to sell the book for people that don't read the book. They don't know anything about the book. It's like, you're not a comedian. You're not funny. I hate these things. I want to, every time I go to Barnes & Noble, I want to rip them down or write new ones. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's funny.
Owen, do you work at Barnes & Noble? Are you writing those?
Owen was actually just on my stream a couple of minutes ago. Nice crossover. I appreciate the crossover, guys. It means a lot. Means a lot for sure. Max Appleman says I'm about halfway through my DBZ read, and I'm really enjoying Power Fantasy by Gillen.
Yes,
it's a good book.
Good stuff.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, that's it. I was just saying, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, sure. Here's another one too. What's an important part of a comic for y'all?
Like as far as like, is that like the question of like, do you prefer, or do you favor the story over the art kind of thing, or is that like the format? What's the
format? Is it storytelling? Is it?
If it's art versus story, I'm always more art than story guy. I mean, I need both, obviously, but if I were to pick one, I can read a comic that doesn't have the greatest story if it has great art. I guess would be the way I would describe it.
For sure. Reading. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I think sometimes it's easier to if if a comic has like I've had both cases where I've enjoyed the story, but I've not enjoyed the art, so I don't read it. Or like alternatively, if like the art is really cool but the story just doesn't grab me, then that's obviously not good either. So yeah, it's tough to try and find that balance.
Yeah, there's definitely versions of both. I think I guess the way I describe it is I gravitate more towards if I see a comic with really cool art, I'm willing to pick it up more than with a certain writer's name on it, I guess. And there's still writers that I love, obviously, but if I see like anything like DWJ's name on it, I'm gonna pick it up and read it, no matter who's writing it. Or I'm trying to think of other artists today that are like pretty well known. Oh, Raphael Grampa.
Yeah,
I just finished Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child, or whatever it's called.
That was really good. I actually enjoyed that book.
I read it because I just read Master Race again. So then I read that, and this is the first time I read Golden Child. And I've always heard that about that book, that it's like, yeah, it's okay. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And Grampa's art obviously was the highlight of that, but also the coloring. Jordi Belair, her coloring on that book really made it for me, because I feel like the coloring on Master Race could have been better. Wasn't the biggest fan of the coloring on that one, but the coloring on Golden Child was pitch perfect.
He's Grampa's doing another Batman book.
He is, like Gotham Gargoyle or something.
Gargoyle
of Gotham. Yeah,
I can't wait for that to be collected. I love Raphael Grampa. He's one of those artists that hasn't done a lot of comics, but whenever he does do a comic, I'll be first in line to pick it up.
Yeah, it's getting a deluxe and a noir edition, but it got pushed back because the issues have been delayed a little bit. But
they're doing a deluxe and a noir like right away.
Yeah,
like 2 different books though.
Yeah, 2 different books.
Dang, I'm gonna probably buy both of them.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, reading Zatanna by Paul Dini as a break. I 100%. Finished Beneath the Trees Where No One Sees. Major Dexter vibes. A lot of people have been telling me to get on that book. I gotta let's see if Taylor hitting on minimum wage work. Oh my gosh.
I'm hating on amateur comedians. Not minimum. They do a great job shelving books there.
For sure. We haven't actually gotten them in these previous, but I will reach out to my contact at Dynamite to see if I can get back solicits from them. So I know that some people do read like the Red Sonias and the Vampirellas, but also some of the other IP licenses that they have gotten back to pop, like Thundercats, what are the Disney villains like Maleficent and Darkwing Duck, right? So I'll see if I can reach out to my contact to get back those and integrate them into these solicit streams again. Omar might be here. He told me he's at a thing currently right now, but he might pop in the stream later, because he also we had a meeting on Sunday and he was like, Dom, you have to invite me back to the indie streams. And I'm just like, you're always invited. I don't know like what you're doing at these times. I mean, it's your channel. Hey, Lord, how are you doing? Happy New Year to you. Yeah, he's John Cena. He's currently in a box near Spawn. You just can't see him. Hello, Paperback Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Indeed. Yeah, we do the independent solicit streams. We launched this about a couple of months ago, but I've been fortunate enough to have a really awesome panel of friends along with me to talk about these books. So yeah, 100% Gargoyle Gotham. Check it out. And Taylor will be buying both the deluxe and the noir edition. So
absolutely.
So yes, let's go ahead and start off the solicitation stream with none other than Titan Comics. You can of course check these out. All the documentation is on comicreleases.com. For those who are wondering, you can click on the solicitations tab to move you over to the month, which gets you all of the books in for that specific month. But if you also want to just see it on the regular website, we do have a home page with a slider tab that will take you to not only just the indie solicits, but we do also get Marvels and DCs as well if you are into those two. Which I'm sure that a lot of you here in the chat already are. So yes. Oh, hey, there's my friend.
Yes.
Crest, what's good? Obviously, Omar is busy watching the proposal. Yes, indeed. And yes, I also do DC solicits here on Near Mint Condition. All right, first book that we do have is Conan the Barbarian, the original comics omnibus, volume 6 by Larry Akata and Michael Fleischer with John Buscema. This is, of course, part of the long-running line of Conan omnis by Titan. And this goes on sale on the 2nd of July of this year. I keep thinking it's 2024. I keep forgetting that. I need to get used to it. $125 is going to reprint Conan 150 to 171, annual number 8 through 9, and What If 43. This is the regular cover by Buscema and the DM cover by Mike Kaluta.
So this is the the post Roy Thomas era, but still John Buscema's on the book.
You're correct.
Do you guys?
I wish Great House were here because I know that he definitely have a lot of things to say about these issues of Conan. Go ahead. Sorry.
When you guys get your Marvel, I guess your Marvel omnibuses, DC doesn't really do that. But do you prefer the comic book cover or like the new modern type cover?
Ooh.
Do you want it to match the interiors, or do you want it to be like a cool modern cover?
I always select and opt for whatever the book looks inside. Like, for example, like the Uncanny. Let me bring up an example. Let's go to the Uncanny X-Men omnibuses, if they will allow.
Those are good examples for sure.
Yeah. So I know that Uncanny X-Men, some point, like you get, we have volume 2 here, right? So what Taylor is alluding is we have, so here's the DM cover. The DM covers sometimes are usually retro covers. This is, of course, the famed John Byrne covered issue 137 with
amazing
Marvel
cover
Cyclops. And then there is the Stuart Immonen, who I love. He's one of my favorite artists ever, who has the modern looking cover as opposed to the old one.
Which that's another variation on it, because sometimes it'll be just like the I think volume 3 is like the Jerome Pena cover, where it's like totally different art and everything. But this is Stuart Immonen doing like a homage to the John Byrne cover, which I think is even weirder to me. I don't know. I don't know if I need a modern version of a homage. I don't know. I always prefer the original art. I want the art to match what's in the book. That's the reason why I'm buying it. It's odd to me. The sales model of like, let's put this brand new modern cover, like this Conan one, for instance, like that. I mean, I'm not well versed in this era of Conan. Maybe that there is an issue in there that has that. I guess it is a cover issue. I don't know. But when it's like a Jerome Pena on volume 3 Uncanny X-Men omnibus, like if it's done to bring in modern readers, I guess, to want to buy that era of X-Men. But if you're seeing that cover and you think that it's the same art on the inside, aren't you gonna be disappointed? I don't know. Yeah. The sales mechanism behind it doesn't really make sense to me. Obviously, they sell out and they do well. So who am I to say anything about it? But I was just curious. I think there's always a interesting, like, which one do you prefer? And I always prefer the art to match what's in the book.
Fair.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mostly get modern omni, so I don't really have that kind of problem. If it's a problem or a query. But I definitely see what you mean, though.
DC solicits are always out third Friday of the month, and hopefully they'll send them in early this time. I do have more of an insight to that because
you had a video come out yesterday, Dom, on your channel, Dom of X Studio on YouTube. Everybody go subscribe. But it was some of the paperbacks and the hardcovers came through a little bit through the catalog.
Yeah, so DC I did talk about that yesterday. So yeah, DC did sent me what's it called, the absolute covers for the trade paperbacks, along with some of the all-in covers, like for Challengers of the Unknown and Batgirl. So
which begins the confusing era of collected editions. It's officially here, where we have absolute trade paperbacks and not absolute editions.
Indeed.
It drives me up a wall that DC chose the word absolute for that line. I don't understand it at all. It's so weird. But I even got confused by your video because it said like DC absolute collected editions or something like that.
Right.
Like, oh, new absolute editions. Cool. And I clicked on it. I'm like, oh, this is absolute Batman.
Yeah, we're here. That is the time we're living in.
And then when we inevitably get the absolute edition of the absolute Batman, what's it going to be called?
Yeah.
Absolute Batman? Absolute squared?
Who knows?
It's just silly. Like, I like the idea of like Marvel repurposed the Epic line that used to be like the graphic novel line back in the day, and they repurposed it for like the collected editions, right? That's smart. Like, it was a dead name that they had, and they brought it back. That makes sense to me.
Oh,
They should have brought like showcase. That's a word that DC's used in the past that's not being used currently. I don't know. I'll try to stop going on rants. Sorry.
All good. But yes, also hello Matafor. I believe you're also who was just on my stream. Appreciate to see you here. We might get one at some point later down the line. I think DC, they tend to do their hardcover first, trade paperbacks second. For Batman, that was true until they decided to do it same day, same time. But alas, it is what it is. And here is one. We were supposed to do an interview with Matt Wakeham here on Near Mint Condition. I was able to do one last month with him, talking about the makings of the deluxe edition of Fu Action, the comic that helped bring about Gorillas and plenty of other cool insights.
So is this a reissue? Because this already came out. Is this like a
it's apparently on sale now. It's a reissue, and it's still also signed by the same team. And yeah, it's a reissue. So
OmniDog, I have to give him a shout out, was gracious enough. He's sending me his copy of this.
Well, nice.
Yeah, he got a review copy from Titan, and he said that he knows I'm a bigger fan of Jamie Hewlett, and I'll love it. And I am a huge fan of Jamie Hewlett. Did you get any insight from Matt Wakeham? And if this didn't come up in your previous interview, are you going to be part of the Omar interview when he does it eventually?
I will not, because I think a lot of the same questions that Omar asked are ones that I've probably already asked him.
Well, did it come up at all that if there's going to be another Hewlett collection in your interview?
If there was, he didn't. I think this is the only thing that they're coming out with, right? They're trying to get more done with Titan, is what I've gathered from Matt.
Because he did this great series of Deadline magazine called Fireball, and it's like, do you ever watch the cartoon Wacky Races?
I've heard of it.
Okay, it's kind of like that, but like done with Jamie Hewlett, punk, violent, adult kind of style. So it's like race car driving, but these crazy looking race cars. And it went through Deadline magazine. It's never been collected before. And when I heard about this Fu Action, I'm like, oh, I hope they do a Fireball collection. I'll ask Omar to ask him when he does the interview then.
Yeah, there you go.
So I want to put that out there that people are interested, maybe like, breathe it into existence a little bit. Speak it into existence.
Speaking into the existence. But yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know anything about this, but your interview I think was interesting. Just to learn some stuff about it. And
yeah, Matt's super big into one thing that he talked about when I talked to him about this book was making sure that it was both accessible for people who are going to be reading it physically, whether it is the super deluxe edition or the regular deluxe edition, or people who are buying it digitally. Because one thing that he's super big on is graphic design for branding and printing. And he wanted to make sure that the experience was as authentic as it possibly can be for somebody who was buying it off for their Kindle or their tablet. And then also the people who are going to be buying this gorgeous slipcase deluxe ribbon thrown in the extras hardcover.
It's interesting. I'm going to go back and watch that interview. I saw that you did it, but I haven't watched it yet.
All good. Yeah, no, it was definitely fun. Also nice to find out that I don't know if you'd like him a lot, like he's a Lakers fan like I am.
Oh
no. So anyways, there is that, and again, $400 for the people who are interested. And also, if you're a big fan of Gorillas or Tank Girl, check this out. And I also here's one. Titan sometimes does Marvel books where they do spotlights on certain characters, and this one is Marvel's Daredevil, the first 60 years, in also conjunction with the Daredevil live action show that is coming back to Disney Plus for $24.99, 128 pages.
It's one of those coffee table books. Come to the stream, find out what books are coming out. Sorry.
So yeah, one of those coffee table books. It's not really much to it. Like if you are interested in having something look good on your shelf or just in your living room, these are the types of books that you'd want. And the last one of this is the Infinity Saga Ant-Man Art of the Movie. And I find this interesting because Marvel is doing it for their, they obviously have it for their publishing company, but Titan also is doing one for this as well. So I find that interesting.
So this is there's two different books coming out for these movies now.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, Marvel. Yeah, Titan is doing one for Ant-Man.
Maybe Titan just picked it up or took it over or something. I don't know.
Who knows? While Daredevil hasn't appeared, it has appeared indeed. Gary Payton, PFP man, and is this? Yeah, these are all hardcovers. These are all hardcovers, Owen, but it is indeed a hardcover. Annoyingly, I don't have the original Fireball by Hewlett. But it did get a redone version by a different team in the Tank Girl magazine after the movie with the Vertigo minis as the lead-in stories. So, interesting stuff there. Trade paperbacks, RuneScape Untold Tales of the God Wars Volume 1 by Ryan Sullivan and Daniel Bayliss. This is $17.99, 128 pages on the 23rd of July. Collects issues 0 to 4 of the comic series. So yeah, we got a RuneScape comic. This is this has been one of the biggest games, at least of my generation, and seeing if you want to talk about a game that like pops up in TikTok reels, like while you're just scrolling along or something to keep the mind on screen, yeah, this is the game that's probably playing. But yeah, this is also something that my friend is super big into. I know, apologies, Bricked Up Senpai. We're just trying to get engagement in the chat, but we will for sure get it out better. At all the solicitations. Toxic Super Beast Volume 1. This is a manga by Nieken and Toye. 208 pages, $12.99. Monster Mayhem Unleashed. As the fog clears and colossal creatures stand tall as mountains, be one of the bystanders in their shadows. By opening Nieken's explosive manga of us readers in a reality not too different from ours until terrifying monsters appear one by one.
That looks like a good horror manga. For sure.
Indeedy.
I do love that Titan's getting into the manga game, though. All these publishers should be getting into some sort of manga translation just to bring in more readers into their publishing catalog and things. So, and I think we have quite a few manga on this one. I think there's another one coming up.
No, for sure. And yeah, they've been doing a lot of manga overall for like the last couple of months and years. Yeah. The more they do, honestly, I think the better overall. A lot of these indie companies do. And here's another one too. Welcome to Ghost Mansion Volume 2 for fans of. So this is a horror comedy. This is the second volume. $12.99, 192 pages. Black and white, April 23rd. And another manga, The Elegant Courtly Life of the Tea-Witch, Volume 2. This is where the fun begins, and with Ameko Keirudo and Yori Fuji. Remy and Princess Stella start to become closer as bodyguarding mission secretly becomes a date.
And a variety of different genres of manga here, too.
Yeah, we got horror, we got horror manga, and we got we got slice of life.
Yeah.
And then the next one is their big name manga they have.
Yeah, Atomic Beginning Volume 11. We're on Volume 11 of this now, 224 pages, $12.99. This, of course, is the prequel to Astro Boy. April 30th, 2025 is the release date for that.
That one's been a lot of fun. I need to catch up on that one. But if you love Astro Boy, it's not the Osamu Tezuka art and stuff that you'll get from it, but it's a fun addition to it. It's like it's not really that much different than a writer artist of today doing a Spider-Man comic that Steve Ditko and Stan Lee created years back. It's something that Tezuka created Astro Boy, and now some new creators kind of taking on in that same universe doing a prequel of it.
Sure. And the next one of these, we don't have one for a picture because Titan didn't send one, so they're still making the cover. But this is Kamen Rider Kuga, Volume 9, 224 pages, $12.99. And this is, again, Volume 9 of Kamen Rider.
Yeah, and Kamen Riders are your classic, like, tokusatsu genre, manga, movies, TV, and everything. Like, if you're a Power Rangers fan, same genre. So maybe if you like Power Rangers comics, you can try out Kamen Rider.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is not a comic book, but if you are interested in Titan books, they do have Dead Space Martyr, which is the prequel to Dead Space. We will not, it's not a graphic novel, so we will not talk about that, but that is what we do have for Titan. And if you are interested in getting Conan the Barbarian, the original comics volume 6, and you live in Europe, check out Walt's Comic Shop, where we do have that as our main sponsor. And if you tell them that Near Mint Condition sent you, you will be... I do not have, unfortunately, the advertisement on me, but yes, it is brought to you by Walt's Comic Shop with a flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, along with bulletproof packaging and amazing customer service. And if you tell them that we sent you at checkout, you can get free shipping with your first order of over €40. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for Omnis and collected editions in Europe. Joe, do the ting.
Ting.
How does Melanie do it, man? I need to find that out. But next up, we do have IDW for their March solicitations. And the first one, we have two covers. It is the Neil Adams Classic DC Artist Edition, $150, 288 pages, 12 by 17 in the format we all know and love, coming out on the 1st of April of this year. And there is a Batman version, of course, with the art by Neil Adams, with Ra's al Ghul, and then the second one.
Such a classic cover on that second one.
Green Arrow destroying Green Lantern's power battery.
Yeah, this is one of the last artist editions that Scott Dunbier worked on. So this still has his touch on it. I don't know that I don't think IDW has announced any artist editions that Scott Dunbier has not worked on yet. So they're still trickling these out. Scott Dunbier obviously has his own publishing company, or not obviously, sorry, has his own publishing company now called Act 4, but he's the one that does all these artist editions. And this one, he talked about a little bit on the interview that Omar did. And it sounds amazing. There's like full stories in here. And he was talking about how he found a couple more he's packing in here. So he really does try to find everything. And 288 pages is a thicker one of these. Usually these clock in around 150 to 192-ish pages. So this will be a thicker artist edition. And these are just absolutely primo book design, primo paper quality, everything. They put all the whatever, I'm trying to think of the word, the bells and whistles, all the bells and whistles that you can imagine you want in a good book. And I have some artist editions back here, actually. I was showing off my background, but this one I'm excited about. Neil Adams is great.
He's amazing. Joe, would you ever consider buying a book like this at some point? Or is it too big?
I don't know. I think it's more that it would have to be something that I was like really interested in, that like would actually make me want to. Not that. I don't know. I just think I would like actually like appreciate it as a thing, but would I want to actually own that? Like, I didn't get an absolute edition until like it was Gary Frank's art on Doomsday Clock. That was like, okay, I need to own Absolute Doomsday Clock. Like, there would have to be a specific one that really like caught my eye and be like, okay, I need to have this. Otherwise, I just sort of just appreciate the format, but nothing that I would like actively go out and buy so far.
The Batman Year One seemed to be a pretty pretty big gateway artist edition for. It seemed like a lot of people that don't own any artist editions or never have picked up that one, and it seems for probably similar reasons to what Joe's describing. Like Batman Year One, such an iconic story that people were just like, I have to have that in that format, and it was I think it was the best comic book collection that came out last year for sure. That one is absolutely beautiful, not just because the story's great and the art's great, but like the book itself is amazing.
Although it's funny on the Absolute Edition front, because I got Doomsday Clock like a couple of years ago, and then suddenly, like as it happened with Omnibus, where I got one and then it eventually snowballed, it started to happen for the Absolute as well, because with like Superman Johnson Frank, I got that for Christmas, and then Absolute Mr. Miracle is coming out at the end of the month.
Isn't it funny how books do that to you?
Yeah, so
the same thing happened to me with artist editions. Actually, I got one. And I was like, man, this is a beautiful format. I need to have all of these, and now I have.
I mean,
a lot.
I mean, yeah, it happened with like Epic collections when I got into those last year. It's like it's suddenly like, oh, maybe I should try Epic collections, and I have like a dozen of them.
For sure. Yeah, I really want that Batman Year One at some point, but yeah, it's one of those where I don't really have room and or the shelves to house them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I want to get one at some point because they are like incredibly like well done, and the restoration on them, it's near immaculate stuff, if not immaculate. So
it is funny how I find that like the books that I'm getting like bigger and bigger. Like I went from like Omnibus to like and now like Absolutes, and then for Christmas I got the monster-sized Hellboy, which is like the biggest book, like because it's like an omnibus length at an absolute height, so it's just humongous. So with the way things are trending like that, maybe someday I'll find bigger books to get somehow. Space be damned.
For sure. Yeah, that Hellboy, I mean, has to take up like 1 billion acres of units just all in one, right? So, but yeah, for people who have I have recently watched Sonic 3, and I am like in a weird Sonic kick now because this was my childhood or part of my childhood. I even watched Sonic Boom when it aired on Cartoon Network a couple of years ago, and it feels like forever now. But this is the IDW collection of Sonic hardcover volume 5, oversized hardcovers, $59.99, 352 pages, coming out on the 18th of March, 14 through 50 or 41 through 50. Sorry, issues 41 through 50 are collected in here, and the Imposter Syndrome miniseries is collected in here as well.
I really love these licensed properties that IDW puts out, and how they have like these. It's very similar book design. Like this is not much different than the TMNT collections, where they have like a big giant character image,
right?
The spines all match, and they look great. Like they're so awesome looking on the shelf. And the Transformers were a similar design as well. It's really, really cool, beautiful looking collections.
Oh, for sure. Who knows, Bernie? We hope it is. They've been doing a decent good job with reprinting those libraries, so or library editions, I should say. But yeah,
well, they said they had to run out of the stock of Volume 3. So Bernie, you have to go out there and buy every Volume 3 that's currently in stock, sell them out, and then they'll reprint them.
Indeed. Here's another one of the same IDW collections, which is Volume 17 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which does have, if you look down here with issues 133 to 137, Alliance 1 through 5, and also Armageddon Game, it's the same contents as the Armageddon Game Deluxe Edition. But it is $59.99, 408 pages.
Wait,
coming out on the 1st of
the
April.
Exact same contents, or
the Armageddon Game Deluxe had all those other issues in it too?
Yes. So let me see if I can pull up
the
Armageddon Game Deluxe.
They released. So they gave collectors options then. So if you want just the Armageddon game, you can get that separate looking collection that doesn't say Volume 17 on the spine. But if you're collecting all the turtles, you can get this one and still have it match your collection.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, Volume 16 and Volume 17, like they like the stuff in there is collected in the Armageddon Game Deluxe.
Okay.
Like if you only want to read, like for me, for example, I was contemplating getting Armageddon game because I don't have 16 volumes of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, and I wanted to read it, so that was like a palpable option for me where I didn't have to like worry about continuity. So yeah, people keep telling me, like, if anybody here is into Pokemon, like I have a Squirtle plushie, and people keep telling me you should cook him for soup, and I'm just like, no, man, that's mean. I would never do that to Squirtle. I know. I feel like that's the big thing with a lot of these collections, and this also goes into the like people asking why don't people just reprint volume 8 or volume 6 or volume 12 of a whatever line, right? Because sales on those tank after the first couple, and you're not everybody who's going to be there for volume 1 is going to be there all the way at the end.
We should also note, I believe this is the penultimate volume of this collection. I think there's one more after this. One more, get us to 150, which is great. So 18 volumes will be the entirety of that run of IDW Turtles with all the miniseries spliced in there perfectly in the continuity and the reading order that you should read them in.
Indeed.
Yeah,
so,
I've read the first couple of volumes of this and enjoyed it, and also the first volume of Sonic, and that was fun too. But I haven't read on it. It was funny with because I know IDW started doing the paperbacks of these collections, and so I bought the first couple of paperbacks, and because I was like, oh, I don't need the hardcovers, I can just like have the paperbacks as they come out. Those will be easier. And what's funny is that because Sonic is only available in hardcovers, they've been putting those out. I got the first one. I was like, oh no, this is too nice. I want the hardcovers for Turtles as well. So I sold off the Turtles paperbacks after reading them.
Those paperbacks are nice because they're exactly the same, like design on the outside and everything. They're just smaller and paperback. These are the only Turtles comics I've never read. I've read like every other version of Turtles besides this run, and it's because I don't know what format I don't know if I should dive in and try to get the hardcovers, or if I should go with those paperbacks, or if I should just read it digitally. And because I can't decide.
Always Instigator just said that they're holding out for compendiums, which I think is also the easiest option at this point. But we'll see.
Yeah, which I haven't, because I can't decide on which format. I have not started it yet. There was a really good Humble Bundle a few months ago that I should have picked up because I had like every one of these in it, but alas, one day
indeed, we will find a way to get Taylor and Joe to read all of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle continuity and enjoy the pizza loving sentient beings that they are. But no, Bernie, I completely understand. Like, it's every person who collects these nice things should be able to buy it in the condition that they want to, the size that they want to, if they're making those in that available format. And I would love to get Invincible Library 3 reprinted, or get it reprinted at some point. So it's completely understandable. I feel the pain.
I was just kidding, Bernie. You don't have to buy all this.
All right, though, if we go on to the trade paperbacks, we do have My Little Pony Classics Reimagined, The Odyssey by Megan Brown, Robin Easter, Jenna Ayub, Natalie Haynes, and Brianna Garcia for $12.99, 88 pages, and this comes out on the 18th of March.
We kept hearing that they lost the license to My Little Pony. Last time we did a solicit show, they had a book coming out in January, so we're like, oh, maybe it's like a bleed over into the next year. But now we're looking at March. They're putting another one out. So what's the deal?
That's yeah. We should make a video on that. Who owns the creator rights to what companies, or which companies own creator rights to which IPs and whatnot? I
wish there was more transparency. I understand why there's not transparency, but I kind of wish there was as a fan. You can find out like the dates that these companies are losing the license and things.
Yeah. Also, John, I agree. I read this in Optimus's voice. It was stuck in my head. And yeah, Sonic being a character studying grief was not. I didn't either, but I really like the introspectives that they had with both Sonic and the one character that they did that with as well. And the other trade paperback for IDW is indeed Shred or Dead by D. Bradford Gambles, 1999, 6x9. So this is a digest size coming out on the 11th of March, but this is a graphic novel.
And it's about skateboarding, which is skate comics are always fun. And this isn't the last skate comic that we'll see today, though.
It's not. No, indeed. If I can move over to Dark Horse and see what they've got going on for their March 2025 solicitations. The big one for them is another library edition from the Mark Millar line of comics, which is Chrononauts with him and Sean Gordon Murphy and Eric Kinnett on colors. This is going to unrelated. I really wish that they would just call these. I think we talked about this like the last couple.
Yeah, I noticed
Oh,
that just now. I was like, oh,
Yeah, I
seems
wish
to be a Millerverse deal now that they keep saying it collects 2 trade paperbacks. This is a early Sean Murphy, right? This is like from a long
this is
time
very
ago.
this is a lot earlier than it's
Even
like
Tokyo
Joe the
Ghost.
Barbarian, sort of same timeline.
Yeah.
Like not the newer Sean Murphy that we have with Batman White Knight.
But you can still see that style is still there, though. It's not like totally different. Like that, his style of art, you can still tell it's a Sean Murphy piece.
It is.
And correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys don't know, or if the chat, I feel like wasn't this like one of the few Mark Millar books that was in an oversized hardcover before? Like I feel like this is a reprint of sorts.
Yeah, let us know in the chat.
I know he's obviously brought all his books over to Dark Horse, and it looks like they're putting library editions of all of them together. But I feel like I've seen a hardcover of this before, maybe with a different company. I don't know. Regardless, this has gotten wild praise, and if you're a Sean Murphy fan, it's always fun to see the progression of art from artists. If you look at early in their career through the later parts of the career, and this would be a good way to do that. Reading some of his early stuff.
Yeah, if you're a big fan of like Batman the White Knight or even books like Tokyo Ghost with Rick Remender, I would also suggest picking this up for sure.
Or his new Zorro book he did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I mean, we were talking about like art versus story at the beginning. I've never been that interested in reading any Mark Millar, but this is one that tempts me because of Sean Gordon Murphy's artwork.
Well, that's the thing that Dom and I have said it a bunch of times in the past, that Mark Millar never works with a bad artist.
Yeah.
And all of his artists seem to be very, very happy with the lucrative deal that Mark Millar provides them, which makes sense. If you're a writer in comics, you want to have the best artist working on your stories.
Yeah, that's how Denise Kemp from Ultimates got into the industry, was through a Millar like scouting contest back in 2018.
Oh, really? Okay. That's cool.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, it was like in the last couple of years, it's like I don't necessarily really want to read a Nemesis comic, but I would be more interested in reading a Jorge Menez comic.
Right, yeah. Yeah. See Pepe Larraz too on Big Game.
Yeah.
You got Stuart
Frank
Immonen to
Whiteley.
go back on Magic, like to go back to comics on Magic Order. Like
I mean, most of Frank Quitely's entire catalog for the last 20 years has been Mark Millar stuff, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not 20 years, maybe the last 10 years.
10 years, yeah. Yeah, what would you like me to say? Because that's the only Batman stuff that I like. There's Beyond the White Knight. There's White Knight Presents Red Hood. There's something Curse of the White Knight.
He had an indie series with Massive Publishing.
He did, yeah.
Called the Plot Holes, which was good. I think it might have been crowdfunded before then as well.
Oh yeah, that was because I saw that book at Half Price Books one time, and it was like a quick Kickstarter, and that's supposed to be one of those like kind of metatextual literary books,
Yes.
like showing all the different plot holes, or characters jumping in and out of books, different literary books or whatever.
No, for sure.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Also, hello, Matt. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope your family is doing well as well. I know that been going through some bits, but glad to see you in chat.
Better
and
late
it feels
than
like modern Dark Horse should just rebrand to Mark Millar and others. Like
I do love that Dark Horse has all these different creators have their own little imprints, though. Like Matt Kent, Bendis has an imprint there. Stan Sakai has an imprint. Eric Powell has his imprint there. So it's like it seems like they're collecting these creators that have like a big catalog and putting them in their own little imprints. And I think it's a great way for a publisher to do business as opposed to only focusing on licensed properties, which they can lose, or whatever, and have to pay license fees.
Yeah, same with Image and Giant Generator, Ghost Machine. massive verse, and of course
Brubaker Phillips. I don't think they
Yeah.
have an imprint name, but the Brubaker
Yeah.
Phillips stuff.
Mhm. And also the Energon universe, which we will get to at some point later in the stream. Yeah, there's a lot of those like powerhouse imprints at those companies that the publishing people are willing to put out, and that makes it better, I think, for everybody who's trying to find something that they enjoy. Yeah. Well, there you go. Bendis is
Yeah.
indeed Jinx World, and yes, yeah, Mignola
Oh yeah,
has
obviously.
the one of
Mignola's
the
like
kings.
he's like the first big one that had his, not the first one to have his own imprint, but the first big one that like kind of started that model with Dark Horse.
Here you go. Yeah, ElfQuest, the original quest, book 2, Forbidden Grove. I know that this has been on James. If you're in the chat, I know that you have been waiting this for a long time. Issues 6 through 10 are in here. So for all the people who are trying to get ElfQuest in hardcovers, this is your way to go.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's in full color for the first time from Dark Horse.
I was confused because it says the original quest, but then the first part of the blurb says the original ElfQuest saga continues, as if there's like stories building off the old. I got it now, though. No, the only confusing part about these for me is that there's so much ElfQuest content out there that these small collections, I feel the same way about the Savage Dragon Ultimate collections. I've forever wanted every issue of Savage Dragon in color, but they put these Ultimate collections out that only have like 10 issues a piece. So it's gonna be like 30 volumes when it's all said and done. And, will they be able to release 30 volumes, or will they start seeing sales dip after volume 8 or whatever, like you said earlier, and then discontinue the line?
Isn't Eric Larson like vice president of Image?
Yes.
Yeah, I think sales allude to, like, they'll put out, if he puts out a book, they'll do it.
Well, you say that though, but the Savage Dragon single issues are like not a great seller, and
they're not.
And
but they still put them out whenever they do it.
Right, because I feel like it's so weird because they don't market Savage Dragon very well. It seems like he's only making it for like the few hundred or maybe 1,000 of people that still read Savage Dragon, and he's fine with it. And it's his own little kind of like hobby that he has because he's doing just fine with like the SVP stuff that he does at Image. That he's just like, just on the side, I'll just draw this little comic, and my 1,000 friends will read it, and that's fine with me. Like, but it's like I want these wider, because I was trying to collect Savage Dragon. My goal originally was to get every single issue and custom bind them. But you'll find out if you try that, you'll find out quickly that after issue 70 or so, the print runs were so small that any issue you want from like 70 to like now he's up to like 270 now, I think, or around that bit, are so hard to find. And those single issues will go for like 10, like 20, 30, $50 each. And it's like you can't buy the single issues at that point in the aftermarket. So that's why I've been wanting collections, but they're doing like 10 issues a piece. I'm like, just do these big fat omnibuses or something.
Because he said that we'll get compendiums for Savage Dragon in 1.5 years.
I'll be happy with that. I mean, do something. I just want to read Savage Dragon.
I feel you there. What's up, Labruski? Good to see you. So it's fair to say, yes, it's fair to say the elves never completed their quest. Maybe. Is that how it works, James? Next up, we do have Space Usagi Rising, White Star Rising limited edition. This is $59.99 in a hardcover, coming out on the 20th of May, and it also includes a numbered tip-in sheet featuring art and also signed by Stan Sakai. Issues 1 through 3 of Space Usagi of White Star Rising are collected in here.
This is perfect for Omnibuddy if he's watching. We also have the non-signed version in the same solicit. So if you're not wanting to pay the higher price tag for the sign, that's like something you care about, and you just want the story in the book. I think it seems like it's the same exact book. It just doesn't have the tipped-in sheet.
Yeah, that does appear to be the case, and obviously they'll put out one where it's not, LTD.
Yeah,
doesn't have the art.
Usagi's great though. Have you either of you read the Usagi comics? No?
Not yet.
Oh, they're so much fun. Those saga collections are definitely the way to go. Like the hardcovers obviously are way out of print and they're crazy expensive. But the thick, like 600-page saga editions are like $29.99 cover price. And you can find them, like they keep them in print. so much fun. Such great stories that have so much heart and humor and cartoony violence even.
Yeah, I met Stan Sakai a couple of years ago. He did a signing at my shop, where I also coincidentally asked him if like more hardcovers were going to be on the way.
Oh yeah.
Because people are asking me like, is there any way you guys are going to publish more hardcovers? And he was super nice about it because I didn't know much about Usagi at the time. But super nice gentleman, and super gracious to talk to as well. So, that was an awesome talk to for sure.
It's one of those creators I've never heard anybody, any other creator or fan or anything ever have a bad word to say about him. They all seem to have like great experiences meeting him. Also a great letterer. He's won a couple Eisners for lettering.
He has indeed. Yeah. He's talented at almost everything he does. Trade paperbacks. The first one we do have here is As the Paths Converge, Sojourner's Saga, Book 2, coming out on the 13th of May, 1999, 352 pages. This is a digest size, but this is part of an OGN line of series, it does look like. Real quick before I get to that, first book of Elquist in hardcover is coming out on the 25th of February.
Oh, there you go.
So,
well, I mean, at least they're like I said, there's gonna be a million volumes of that, but at least they're pumping them out rather quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
That's That's the other thing about the Savage Dragon. Sorry to go back to it, but we have 2 volumes. The third volume we've seen inklings of it in solicitations or catalogs or whatever come up, but it's not even official. I saw Eric Larson posted the other day he's finalizing it, but like that's the thing too is like you can't have like 1-2 years gaps in between these volumes if you're going to do like 30 volumes. You need to have like when one volume comes out, the next one's solicited so people know like, oh, I can get another volume at the end of the year. Something Marvel did really well with the Conan omnibuses and even like the Peter David Hulks. Like by the time one volume came out, the next one was solicited, so you have that confidence as a consumer, like, oh, I can pick up volume 2 because I know volume 3 is just around the corner.
And even like the most recent reprints with Brubaker Captain America, like the last like 3
same thing.
volumes
Yeah,
of it, right?
absolutely.
With Lives, Return of the Winter Soldier, and Trial. So mileage may vary, but whenever companies do that, I always appreciate it. And here we go. We have another manga, which is Joe. Would you like to read the top of the solicitation for this one?
Oh my god. just trying to look to zoom in.
Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. There we go, my friend. How's that?
Danga and Rumpa 2. Chaiki's Namami's Goodbye Despair Quest Volume 3.
There you go. Nailed it.
There we go.
You did it. This is $13.99, 178 pages. As cure is the hope is the only cure for despair. You got a brand new island, a brand new motive, and a brand new mode of psychological and biological warfare, apparently. There you go. So one of the mangas placed in high school, as we have many of those out, but that is being published. Here is an Eric Powell book, The Goon Them That Don't Stay Dead. We mentioned him a little bit earlier during the stream. 1999, 176 pages. To mark the 25th anniversary of Goon.
This one is super exciting. It's an OGN, so it wasn't previously released in single issues. And for Goon fans, if you have like the library editions that Dark Horse came out with years ago, which hopefully they reprint now that Eric Powell's back, they had 5 volumes of the library editions. Then Eric Powell went and made his own publishing company called Albatross Funny Books and released 5 volumes of the bunch of old crap paperback omnibuses that collect basically the same material as the 5 library editions. After those 5 volumes with Albatross Funny Books, he released, I think it was 3 trade paperbacks where he wrote the story, but I think it was Roger Langridge did the artwork for those because Eric Powell is so busy handling the publishing company, he couldn't do the art for them. But now he's taken Albatross Funny Books and it's now just in print with Dark Horse. So he's been working on the art for this, and he talks about this on social media quite a bit. And this is in black and white, and he talked about that on one of his posts I saw because I follow him, that he's like, would people prefer new Goon stories in color or black and white? Because here's the thing, because he paints all those comics. Like if I do it in color, I'm gonna be able to put out less stories. If I do it in black and white, I can pump out a bunch of more comics. So it sounds like whatever the consensus was, or whatever he decided to go with black and white, which fine by me. Eric Powell's an amazing cartoonist. I love his stories. The Goon comics are amazingly fun comics. So I can't wait for this. This is coming out. When do you say? August?
Yeah.
So
August.
just before Halloween. Perfect.
There you go. ElfQuest is a great read. You can read a lot more in their complete compendium editions that are in black and white.
I think it's also free online. Also.
Yeah, it's also free to read. So if you are a digital guy, you want to read some of those books, you can definitely get on that as well. Digest size. Have you ever tried to eat one of those things? It's still very difficult.
He didn't say
to highlight the reply. Yeah.
We can color it in ourselves. You know what? That's what we got to do. Get a digest eatable size. Have they done none of those? But anyways, Gunsmith Cats Omnibus Volume 2. I think this is a great house type of book. I know that he would.
Yeah, he's stoked about these. He told us, he told me I need to buy 20 copies of each volume so it does well in sales or something. I've never read these though, and I do want to. I think Volume 1 comes out this month in January.
I believe so.
So now Volume 2 is coming out in June.
Yep.
And these are
Volume 1 is coming out on the 4th of March, apparently.
Oh, I thought it was this month.
Gunsmith.
Maybe got pushed back.
Yeah, 4th of March.
Okay, so the closer you get.
Check all of these, by the way, guys. We go in comic releases. You can go to all upcoming, search in whatever book. You will get your information there.
5 inches by 8 inches, though. That's. I'm guessing these are the same because Dark Horse does their paperback omnibuses for manga and those really small ones like
They do.
Gantz and Lone Wolf and Cub, which I kind of hate that format. Astro Boy, they also did that format.
Taylor, you're buying 20 copies of Gunsmith Cats. I'll take one of your copies.
I'll just be like Oprah. You get a copy. You get a copy.
Indeed. And again,
I'm not. Actually, James, go back to Josh and tell him he's buying 20 copies.
Ooh. And he'll give you one.
Yeah, Josh isn't here to defend himself, so we can put this back on him.
That's right. Let's do it. But yes, you can check this out all for the documentation as well as all of the dates for these trade paperbacks and hardcovers and whatnot on my website at sierra.com. Moonshadow. This is the definitive expanded edition by J.M. DeMatteis and John J. Muth. $29.99, 528 pages.
Have either of you read this?
No.
No, I don't believe so.
I'm trying to find my copy. I have the hardcover. What I want to know is if it says expanded edition. So what am I missing in my hardcover? And why do they do a hardcover? It's like the definitive collection. And now they're doing a trade paperback with more content in it. But this is like it's a very interesting kind of experimental comic that started off, and it seems to be you have to really vibe with it to enjoy it, I think, because it can be kind of esoteric and out there, but I love it a lot. And John Muth's painting, his artwork is absolutely brilliant. He did that X-Men Havoc series back in the day, so if you're familiar with this. And then J.M. DeMatteis, obviously everybody knows him and he's amazing.
The Spider-Man guy.
Yeah, so if you're it's like a painted comic and it's very like poetic and esoteric and it can be kind of out there, but if that's the kind of thing you vibe with, I would try it out for sure.
For sure. And here's one where we were actually just talking about this, Joe. I know it's not a Valerio Giangiordano, who is doing the illustration for the series, and for those wondering, 144 pages, $19.99. Rogues Gallery 1 through 5 is collected in here. Valerio is usually a cover artist. He doesn't do interiors, but he's doing interiors here.
Well, that's because Mark Miller signed the check. He can get any cover artist to do interiors.
Yeah, this is for those of Valerio did the covers for Savage Avengers by Jerry Duggan. on that 2019 run post. And yeah, now they're doing here. This is the return back to Millar World's very famous character. And this is the series after the Pepe La or sorry, Jorge Jimenez one. I keep getting Big Game and Nemesis mixed up, and I shouldn't.
Oh,
But
and it says it collects Rogues Gallery 1 through 5. So this is volume 1 trade paperback, and when the library edition comes out, we'll see it collects trade paperback volumes 1 and 2.
Yep.
Oh, but there it is indeed. And we were talking about this earlier. Stan Sakai's Space Usagi White Star Rising. If you don't want the signed edition, just want the 3 issues, $17.99, 128 pages, coming out again on the 20th of May. So that is for those of you wondering out there. Continuing on, we do have Star Wars, The High Republic Adventures Phase 3, Volume 3 by Daniel Jose Older. Collecting the 3rd arc of the High Republic Adventures. This is a different series than the High Republic regular series that Marvel's doing. But it is the 3rd part of their arc, collecting issues 11 through 13 and the Marriage of Lula and Zine one-shot. Vampire Hunter D, Omnibus Book 8, $24.99, 680 pages. Coming out on the 27th of May.
This is one of Melanie's favorites, I think.
Indeed.
Oh.
So yeah, there you go. The manga volumes 22, 23, and 24.
that one's a little bit more
That makes
excusable.
more sense, though, yeah.
Because they don't
don't do
release
single
the
issues in
chapters
manga.
separate, like the single issue separately or anything. But it is funny.
It is indeed.
Maybe Mark Miller's trying to get onto that manga front. That's what he's trying to do.
Maybe. Who knows? Yucatan 1512 by Alex Vede. This is a OGN, 1999. In 1512, Spanish soldiers enter the Yucatan. Oh, so this is a take on the legendary Aztec Empire. Interesting.
That cover looks amazing. So this is like a European album type format, it looks like.
Indeed.
And that giant, I don't know what that is, a kaiju Aztec monster this looks cool. I'm intrigued. Yes, but those are the ones that she's into, I think. I think Melanie reads the novels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But 80 pages trade paperback, though, is interesting.
Mm-hmm. And that is it for Dark Horse. We skedaddle our way over to Boom. We have one hardcover, and that is Dune, House Carino Volume 2. My brother was literally watching Dune yesterday, and I was like, well, is there anything out for Solicits? We do have that indeed. This is the final chapter in the Dune prequel series, collecting House Carino Volumes 4, or issues 4 and 6, or 4 through 6, $24.99.
Does he read the comics too?
No.
Oh, okay. Would he, though?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. I always like those like gateway comics when you like for Christmas. Usually I buy my family all comics because I try to brainwash them into reading comics. But like it's always fun to try to find the comic that I think would get them into reading comics.
Oh, for sure. Joe, have you delved into Dune at all?
Not the comics, but I love the movies. But again, yeah, maybe someday. They look interesting.
Do you guys know the story behind Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune? Alejandro Jodorowsky, the guy that did like Meta Barons and Incal, he was going to do the original Dune movie. There's a documentary about it. It's great. Everyone should watch it. But he had like this Bible, the story Bible, put out that he's shopping to studios to see for a studio to back the movie, and it had like Mobius artwork in there. It had artwork in there by H.R. Geiger, all these like story concepts that there's only 20 copies of these made, and they passed around all the studios, and this was before Star Wars came out. And then coincidentally, no studios picked it up, but also coincidentally, we started seeing some of these concepts appear in the sci-fi movies that these studios were putting together, so they're kind of stealing some stuff. Jodorowsky then went on and kind of repurposed that story for the Incal and Meta Barons, which are amazing stories. Everyone should read those. But my point of the whole story is there's only 20 of this that exists, so it's been like a holy grail of mine that I wish like Taschen would put out like a facsimile edition of this, because it's got storyboards by Mobius, it's got H.R. Geiger artwork in there. The whole thing was a great concept. He's going to have like Pink Floyd was going to do the music for it. Salvador Dali was in Orson Welles were going to be acting in it. Crazy concepts. But they just recently, one of those books came up for auction, and the opening bid was going to start at like 25 grand. And I texted Omar immediately and said, "Hey, do you want to go halvesies on this? I'll keep shelf space open to hold it, and then you just come to my house and read it if you want." And he quickly said no. So
he got shot down.
But that was the original Dune movie that never got made. It could have been. It could have been the big Star Wars before Star Wars.
One of those the world will never know type of deals.
That documentary is really great for any sort of creatives too. Like if you're into making movies or art or anything, like even if you don't have an interest in Dune, I think it's interesting to hear all of the people involved in it talk about it and things.
So I feel like everybody loves it, or has something to say about it at least. Emery Wars, the Emery World's No World for Tomorrow, Volume 2. Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 2. Very long name. $17.99 for the final part of the saga, collecting issues 5 through 8 of this very long-winded title.
Burning Star 4, Volume 2. So were there 3 previous chapters that had volumes in them as well?
Yeah. I think you can get bigger collections of these as well. So
I'm not familiar with these.
Yeah. I've read the original Frank Herbert novels. Can't recommend Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune. Anything past that is for hardcore fans only.
Yeah, that's right. Because his son, Brian Herbert, continued on that universe with other titles.
Yeah.
Here's one. Oh, this one might be one for me. Avant-Garde's Complete Collection by Carly Usden and Noah Hayes. This is going to collect Avant-Gardes 1 through 8 and down to The Wire. This is it's a sportsy cover, and I love sports stuff, so probably one for me. If I continue on, we do have Hex Vets. This is the book 4 line from the original graphic novels by Lisa Moore and Sam Davies, the hit series that inspired the Nickelodeon show. $10.99.
It's wild to me that this is a Nickelodeon show. I've never heard of it. Like Nickelodeon used to be daily appointment viewing for me, and I knew anything that came out on Nickelodeon. And now it's like gotten to the point where I'm so old, it's like, huh? This is on Nickelodeon? Although Nickelodeon now is like also interspersed in Paramount Plus, and I don't have that, so that could be a problem.
Yeah, don't have that as well. Hit Complete Collection trade paperback by Bryce Carlson and Vanessa Del Rey, $19.99. This is issues 1 through 4 of 1955 and 1957 series.
This looks awesome. Like I was reading this when you sent the solicit early, and it looks like a great crime noir that's like dirty, gritty, seedy 1950s LA. Like it sounds awesome. I definitely want to pick it up.
Yeah, this is one for the crowd. I think if like you're a big Brubaker Phillips fan,
it's
gonna be like right up your alley. Hey man, don't disrespect my favorite show of all time.
Seems like it would fit right in line with the. Isn't it Titan that has like what's their crime imprint called?
Hard Case.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be like a book you'd see on that.
100%. And here's one that a lot of people, of course, are following on a big monthly basis. This is the House of Slaughter, Book 6, Volume 6, $14.99. Issues 26 through 30 are collected in here.
Dom's repping the shirt. So since you're repping the shirt, you can explain this to me, because as someone that I still probably the only comic book person in this entire chat or video that's not read Something Is Killing the Children.
Have you read Something Is Killing the Children, Joe? if I may ask?
Yes,
Okay. So I am the only one. But
and I've read some of House of Slaughter as well.
so we're 30 issues deep into House of Slaughter, which is a spin-off. What's the reading order here of Something That's Killing the Children in House of Slaughter? Like, do you read them separately, or do you go back and forth?
I think House of Slaughter is most in terms of I don't think it really ties into the actual plot of Something That's Killing the
Okay.
Children. It's sort of just like extra lore and sort of building out the world and the characters. So I don't think it's necessarily like required to read it in particular. I know that the first arc of House of Slaughter leads up to a moment in like the second arc of Something That's Killing the Children, which I won't spoil. But apart from that, I think it's mostly independent.
Okay. Have they haven't released a deluxe edition of House of Slaughter yet, have they?
I think I saw one in like PRH or something a while back, but I don't think it's been officially solicited.
It hasn't been solicited officially yet. No.
And we have 2 deluxe editions of Something That's Killing the Children.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
But yeah.
So yeah, we have the 2. I have the 2 deluxe, like the slip cases or with the slip cases, and those are how I read it. I haven't gotten to House of Slaughter yet. But yeah, like Joe said, it's I forget my train of thought.
You can read them separately; they're independent.
Yeah, you can read them separately.
I stopped reading it in singles up to a certain point, but my friend is like fully caught up and really enjoys it. So it's a fun one.
For sure, for sure. I have to check it out then, Chris, at some point. For avant-gardes. I have yet to read Something Is Killing the Children. So there you go, Taylor.
We're
Seems
not
like
alone.
there are still people who are willing and waiting. I also did just get a text from Omar saying he is currently shoveling, but if he finishes shoveling, he will appear later on the stream. So we might catch him to talk about Transformers.
Ooh.
He should just shovel while he's on the stream. I just watched Omar struggle out in the cold.
That would be fun. That would be fun to see. Just like, oh, we're talking about what now?
And then Dom, who's in beautiful SoCal, or I don't know where you are, but you can like just go out on your porch and drink lemonade in the nice. How warm is it out there?
It's super cold here too. We have 20-mile-an-hour winds today.
What do you mean by super cold? What's the degree temperature?
Oh no, we're not gonna have that conversation.
Is it like 60? It's super cold.
54 today.
How much?
High. Yeah, 54 is the 54 degrees. Okay, so can I do metric so I can get Joe in on this too, because it's not.
Oh yeah, what's Celsius? 54 is there. So Dom's walking out with his bundle.
12 degrees Celsius here, Joe.
He's got to get his scarf and his winter coat.
12 Celsius. Oh. It's like single digits. Yeah, like 4 Celsius. Or like even like close to 0 Celsius.
I think it's 12 degrees Fahrenheit over where I'm at. So
it's a cold world. Holding out for deluxe editions of I believe they are coming, and when they get solicited, we will be the first ones to talk about them here in Near Mint. As I am not made of infinite dollars, unlike Tony Stark, I have also not read Something Is Killing the Children.
All right, you guys are making me feel more less behind the times. I like it.
8 inches of snow, man. You know what I would do to get 8 inches of snow in the Bay Area, Brian? I would do so many things.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get 8 inches. We got a few inches though.
All right, there you go. This one has been big for. I wish Bunk was here to talk about this. This is the reboot or relaunch, I should say, of Power Rangers. Issue 1 got 5 printings, if my mind calls correctly. So an IP that is doing well. $18.99 for the first 4 issues of Power Rangers Prime.
Is there just one series right now going on?
Yeah, just the one.
Because I know the last one splintered off into a different series. So I didn't know if this one had done that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Moore on cover artist though. That's cool.
Oh yeah. I don't know how Dan Mora does 3 issue, like he's doing JLU for covers, Superman, and this series, along with all the variants that he does every month, on top of doing 2 monthly books at the same time.
He's a workhorse.
Unspeakable.
I like that he's still doing interiors though, because he's definitely one of those artists that I feel like could transition into just being a cover artist. His name's getting that big, but I really appreciate that we still have him on interiors.
Yeah, same here. Joe, have you read? Are you interested in reading the new reboot of Power Rangers? Is that something that you're looking forward to? Is it?
I know like Humble Bundle came up earlier with TMNT, so I did get the Power Rangers Humble Bundle, which I might have mentioned before. So I'm sure that one day after I've read all of that, I can get to this, but I haven't dived into any of that yet. But I've got the digital file just waiting to be read.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, this is one that I'll eventually check out when it eventually gets to hardcovers. But there's like over 12 of those now.
I know they pump those out.
Yeah.
Like I remember a time when there's like 3, and it was like we're all excited for number 4 to come out, and now it's like seems like every year we're getting 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's great for Boom, and it's clear that like they love the line, and I love the designs on both the trades and the hardcovers. They do a really exceptional job of making Power Rangers stand out. So
For sure.
that's been a big one. Hey, kamusta, pare? What's up, Jaggernaut? Welcome back, Carson. Both of them were well, Jaggernaut was on my stream earlier, so it's good to see you here, back to back. We have SIR by Fellhound. Get ready for your new obsession, motorcycle jousting. So we've got a lot of vehicles today. We got skateboards earlier, and now motorcycles.
Motorcycle jousting. Why is that a thing? We should have that. What in 2024? I feel like motorcycle jousting should be like a televised sport.
Yeah.
Maybe a little dangerous, but you know, as a spectator, it'd be fun.
Well, if Fast and Furious can make Carfu epic, then we can make anything epic, honestly.
Here we go.
And Greg Rucka also having a blurb here, so I trust him on a lot of reviews. So this collects the first 5 issues and the 4-page mini comic by Fellhound.
What's Rucka's blurb? I can't see it.
Let's see. Let me bring it here. What Fellhound has crafted is a deceptively gentle kick right to the teen romance, deliciously angsty, mysterious, and fun. Bar, this might be a comic that you're interested in if you like motorcycles. Got a female lead.
That's true.
That's a good blurb. I always like to analyze how blurbs and see if it's somebody doing a favor for somebody or if they actually read the book. Yeah. Like Neil Gaiman, which I don't want to disparage to say that he doesn't read the books, but his blurbs are always hilarious. They're always like, good read, must read, fun story. Like it's always like the most like lazy blurb, but it has Neil Gaiman's name on it. So
right. But yeah, hope you're doing well, Bar. Happy New Year. I think we've gotten a chat since the year turned around. Yeah, Fellhound has a new book, Commander Rao. I've heard nothing but good things about Commander Rao, so I might have to check it out at some point. And that's it for Boom. And also where you can get this along with multiple other titles. And if you are based in the nation of Canada, you can check out our sponsors at BD Cosmos, where you can get 25% off your order of $99 or more and free shipping for every order of $200 or more.
Dami cut out on that one.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if YouTube didn't cut me out, what I was saying was, if you are interested in buying any of the Boom books, check out our sponsor in Canada, BD Cosmos, where they have a physical storefront in Montreal, Quebec. And their website also offers 25% off your order for $99 or more, as well as free shipping for every order at $200 or more. Their shipping carries exceptional, amazing customer service. And after checkout, if you let them know that Near Mint sent you, they will add you, I should say, to the monthly $25 gift card raffle, and entries are valid for both new and returning members at the same time. Don't be afraid to call or email them. That is BD Cosmos, the Canadian leader in blah, 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 collected editions. I can't do the melody bits. I know they had like a thing there or some jingle. We can have Joe do it the next time. I'll send you guys the ad
There you go, Joe.
format.
Write a
We'll
song for
take
us.
turns at doing the. But yes, the big one, the thing that people have been wondering about for the first in a lot is, of course, the Image March 2025 solicitations. And not only are we starting it off with a bang, this is the literal biggest comic of the last 1.5 years, and that is Daniel Warren Johnson's Transformers out in a deluxe hardcover, $49.99, with so many amazing creators. His regular colorist Mike Spicer, and of course Jorge Corona, who's been on a lot of Scotty Young books, took over the arts for this, and it is exceptional. Coming out this year on the 30th of April. This also includes, yes, the Vote for Starscream cover that people have been asking about earlier today, collecting the first 12 issues. And this also is limited. I do believe this is going to, the DM cover will be anyways. The regular cover is going to be the regular cover. This DM has a silver foil and is limited to 3,000 copies. So pre-order it. Must buy.
Yeah, this, I've only read the first trade for this, but I've heard, which sounds like you agree, Dom, that Jorge Corona hasn't really missed a step from when he took over the art duties from Dana Warren Johnson. Like, it's not one of those transitions from artists where you're like, oh, like I really wish he would have stayed on art. But and Jorge Corona is an exceptional artist in his own right, but it is like that style thing. Like I loved DWJ and I want to read anything he draws. But so I was glad to hear that it seems like the book is still, great. And I can't wait to pick this up.
Yeah, I loved the first volume, the paperback. It was awesome, and I was glad I didn't buy any more because then they announced the hardcover.
And I think we've seen the images for what the G.I. Joe hardcover is going to look like, and it looks like a similar design. So it seems like the Energon universe, which I think at the bottom of this cover it says like EU on it, right? Yeah. The Energon Universe books are all going to look great on the shelf too.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what the spines are like.
Yeah, same. But no, this is an absolute must buy. Like if you've been away from comics for a long time and you're trying to figure out like what's big, what's hot, like what is the thing that people are most excited for / like reviewing highly, raving, this is the book. I mean, what Daniel Warren Johnson is like, well, anything that he touches, honestly, right? That's without any throw in. I feel like that's already a given. But to see him not only be able to do something like sort of longer than the miniseries, but also take over a franchise, do interesting stuff with it, and also have a lot of fun. I mean, this is the book.
Yeah, his whole career so far has been doing either excellent creator-owned series that he comes up with on his own, or grabbing a hold of a property and making it like the most exciting comic that's come out, like Beta Ray Bill, which I feel like Beta Ray Bill would have been a more revered series that had Marvel done the right thing and put it out in a gallery or a treasury edition like they should have.
Yeah.
But like Wonder Woman Dead Earth, again, another character he grabbed a hold of and like injected it with the DWJ excitement that only he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Transformers as well. So it's like any comic he touches is like going to be an exciting and fun comic that also pulls at your emotional heartstrings. I cannot wait for this. I'll buy anything DWJ does for sure.
Yeah, same here. And it might be time, Chandasuk. It might be time. It probably is time.
This is a great gateway comic for anyone that was never a fan of Transformers, but maybe you're a fan of DWJ. Or if you're a fan of Transformers and you don't know who DWJ is, maybe you can pick up this book as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does a good job of placating to both those audiences.
Right. And I think his writing should be just as celebrated as much as the art.
I agree with that too.
I think he's very much strong. Like, because sometimes like with artists, you get a little bit of maybe they should be like an artist, like sort of more at the forefront. Like you'd never try to disparage anybody from going from artist to like writer / artist, but sometimes it takes a bit for them to like get their steam rolling. DWJ's scripting is, I think, just as exceptional.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Scotty Young, who Jorge Corona, you said he worked with him. Scotty Young for the longest time has been like known as the art guy, but then when he started writing his own series, like Middle West and things with Jorge Corona, we realized how good of a writer he could be. I think the same thing with Daniel Warren Johnson, and I hope I hope he never stops doing interiors though. Like I'd be fine with if he became a writer on a few series with different artists, but I still want to see those interiors.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, Joe, if you were to pick one of these up, which one would you go for? Are you going for everyone's with the good guys or the very cool looking Starscream variant?
Probably the Optimus Prime one. I
Hmm.
think that it just looks classic and iconic, doesn't it?
Mhm. I love the blue. It's my favorite blue hue too.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like so because Starscream is my favorite. Oddly, he's my favorite Transformer. But
Hmm.
as much as I love like this hue blue that they use right here is my favorite color. Like
That is such a great cover though. Having like the DWJ art and those panels behind it.
Mhm.
But still maintaining a cohesive design because, like I said, I think all the Energon Universe books are gonna have a similar design, but like it's such a great way to showcase the art,
Mhm.
which won't match with all the different EU universe books, but the design will. I don't know. For book design, which is I'm a big nerd for, these are really nice looking.
Oh no, for sure. And I can't wait to read past issue 8 because I was like, man, they're gonna do these in these big beautiful formats anyways. Let me go wait for them. But yeah, never a better time to get into Transformers, guys. If you are tepid or if you are afraid at the wall of knowledge that you have to, it seems like you have to have, this is a perfect jumping on point for everyone. Yeah, we hello to you too, YP, or good afternoon here at least, both in California and the East Coast. So I know for Joe it's a little bit later for him. Let's see. Yeah, we already. Somebody said earlier about the yellow or the DM. Oh, there we go. The DM for Void Rivals will probably also have a DM cover. They've been doing every single like even all the trade paperbacks. They have direct market exclusive covers. I guess
Yeah,
that's
it's like the new Skybound thing. It seems like any Skybound book has.
yeah, any Skybound book. So I'm assuming that we're gonna get those ones for Void Rivals as well. Here's one that I actually enjoyed. The first volume too. Which is Dark Room. This is an OGN by Jerry Duggan and Scott Buon Cristiano. It's a it is a werewolf joined in with a weird skeleton, and they have to figure out what is going. It's a nice horror
Hey.
series. 1999.
Haven't heard
But
of
yeah,
this.
this is a Jerry Duggan OGN series.
I know we're talking about colorist earlier. I don't know if Crisis is still in the chat,
Yes.
but Tamara Bonvillain is one of my favorite colorists.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah, she's on with Dan Mora on Justice League Unlimited, and her color is always spectacular. Hey man, I was talking about the Pokemon Tepig earlier. You're gonna have to blame my brain. You have to blame my brain for that. I would say yes, although interesting that you say this way because like that was like the first Transformer book that I read, and I personally wasn't lost, but maybe it's just because I watched the Michael Bay movies as a kid. Like that was my Transformers growing up. But I would say, yeah, this is the whole point of like the brand new line is to make it accessible for everybody who's trying to get into the franchise. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, my experience with Transformers is the Transformers the movie, like the 80s animated movie, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then episodes of the cartoon, like the classic cartoon here and there with my brother. He was a huge Transformers fan growing up. But beyond that, I saw one of the Michael Bay movies, I think. So I'm not like the biggest Transformers fan, and I loved it.
Yeah, I'm not really a big Transformers guy. I feel weird saying that because like I recently watched I don't know if you got a chance to watch it yet, Joe, but Transformers 1 that came out this year.
Yes, I did see that and enjoyed it.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to see that too. I did like actually, you know what? I lied. I saw was it Bumblebee?
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
Haley
that movie
Steinfeld and what's his name?
Yeah, that movie was great. John Cena. Right?
Yeah, John Cena and the other Woody Harrelson is also
Yeah.
in
That movie was awesome. And I saw the first Michael Bay one like years and years ago. I didn't really care for that one. But Transformers one looks great. I still need to see that.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean that's like the only Transformers thing that I've seen. Because so it was basically there was Dwayne Johnson Transformers. It was like my first Transformers thing, and I sometimes like couldn't work out like who exactly was who, but I still managed to enjoy the story and everything. And of course, the artwork. It's awesome.
Oh, for sure. Silhouetted Animator, thank you for the super chat. Transformers Animator, Transformers Prime. I recently just watched these series with my younger brother, who has been in a big Transformers kick since Transformers 1. I'm gonna say Prime. I think we enjoyed that series a lot more. At least visually, like conceptually, I think we did a lot. We enjoyed that a lot more than the animated series that came out in 2007. I don't know if you guys have watched the other series though.
No.
No, like I said, I've only seen the classic animated. Is that what you're talking about? Animated.
Mm-hmm.
The animated movie though, Transformers the movie is amazing. It's got the Stan Bush song on there, The Touch.
Yeah,
great stuff.
So yeah, there you go. I hope you do love them, as I do think that they are doing really, really cool things over at the Energon universe. So yeah, I can't wait to see what more they have for Skybound. Let's go ahead and go on to the trade paperbacks. Fortunately, those are the only two, but again, the biggest one being Transformers probably will be my pick at the end of the show. Convert with John Arcudi and Savannah Finley. John Arcudi also has been writing Earth Divers at IDW. And BPRD as well. Convert issues 1 through 4.
I haven't read the final issue yet, but I read the first few issues of this, and it was really cool.
Oh.
The cover gives you an idea of the artwork, but it works nicely for that sort of like environmental horror, sci-fi, weird, trippy, alien stuff. Yeah, it's kind of weird to describe, but it gives you an idea. But it's really cool to see how it unfolds.
Oh, sure. I'll have to check that out at some point then. Domain. This is by Chip Zdarsky and Rachel Stott. This is part of a lot of what I think his best work now tends to come from his creator-owned stuff. But yes, so Dallas and the team at Dallas Comics reimagined their classic character, and this is that comic collecting Domain 1 through 5 for $16.99.
This is amazing. I love this idea of this meta story where it's like public domain's the behind the scenes story, and now the comic that those characters work on, this is the comic, and you get to read it. You don't always get that. Like you'll see like a movie where they're making a movie, you don't ever get to see the actual movie they make, or maybe a comic book about people making comics, but you don't actually get to read the comic. So it's kind of cool that they're doing this.
Have either of you read this or?
No, I still need to read finish Public Domain. But...
Public Domain is so good. It's one of my favorite series ever.
I thought this was just okay, but I still liked it.
Okay. I have to check. I still have to check it. I mean, I'll check out anything that Chip Zdarsky does. But it's kind of weird. It's interesting because he was the hottest name in comics back a couple of years ago, and his Batman run has been a little bit up and down for me, anyways. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. It's also different.
Yeah.
It's also not Chip drawing it. It's Rachel Stott, which I find interesting. But anyways.
Well, also, it's kind of a weird comic to try and judge because it's got that meta aspect to it. So you sort of appreciate that aspect of it regardless of the actual like comic itself as well.
Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff. I will have to make a note of that. But here is the first Giant Generator book, and this is definitely going to be one for me when it hits the very library-sized line, which is by Rick Remender, Brian Posen. Brian Posen, one of the halves of the Jerry Duggan first run of Deadpool, and Brett Parson on the arts. This is $16.99, about two outcast friends navigating the Sacramento suburbs of 1984. It's about 80s skate culture, and this also collects issues 1 through 7.
Yeah, I've always vibed with Rick Remender. I think we're both kind of cut from the same cloth. He grew up in like the punk scene of California. I think I grew up in, I guess, the punk scene of the Midwest. But so I always vibed with that kind of his kind of ethos about things. And this seems like he's really tapping into that. I mean, I think it's probably like Deadly Class is the last time you really tapped into that in a big way. This seems to be the same thing, and it's not like it doesn't seem like this big fantasy or sci-fi story that he normally does. It's like kind of this grounded take, and I love the fact that he cites here in the description like Dazed and Confused, Freaks and Geeks, the Brat Pack movies of the 80s, John Hughes movies, all up my alley. Like sign me up. I love all those things. I love skate culture, punk culture, Rick Remender. Like I'm so stoked for this. Now this does only collects the first, is it 6 issues? 7 issues. Is that the whole series though, or is
It's
it
the whole series? It looks like.
so if they do a big deluxe, it'll be kind of a thin one.
Yeah, but he does thin to like. I have the like last Days of American Crime, gigantic.
Oh, gigantic was a thin one. That's right.
Yeah, even Death or Glory. I mean, that was only like 11 issues. So
That's true. Okay.
yeah, he does. He'd still will. I imagine he'll still do that.
So I'll probably end up reading this digitally and wait for the hardcover deluxe. But
right, Taylor, how'd you do in your son's basketball team do?
Matt, thank you so much for asking. That's very sweet of you. But it got snowed out, so we didn't end up playing. I was telling him Dom, I was on the OmniDog show the other night, and my son's travel basketball team right now is 0-5.
Oh,
it's the first time that our city has ever been in this travel league, and all the other teams we're playing against have been in the travel league for like 10 years.
So they're still getting used to that sort of atmosphere.
It's totally different, which I know you can relate probably because I've coached like Parks and Rec, like you know, your normal Parks and Rec leagues. Then I went to this and it was complete culture shock. And my son, like I said, we're 0-5. We had a couple close games, but the team that we were supposed to play yesterday was also 0-5. It was like our first, you know, we might be able to pick up
evenly matched team that you could get a win against you.
But then it got snowed out. It did get delayed though, so we'll still play that team eventually. But thank you for asking that, Matt.
Appreciate that, Matt. And yeah, if I guess another cool thing about this Remender book, if my website will allow me to click, there you go. Is there is a DM cover to this. It's not final. There's a nice wraparound, which I think anytime they do wraparound covers for trades or hardcovers, I'm always in. I like it when they do that.
That's a great looking cover.
It is a great looking cover. And here is another one for the Spawnites, although it is Hellspawn Complete Collection trade paperback, $29.99 at the hands of BMB and Steve Niles with Ben Templesmith, Ashley Wood on art 1 through 16 collected here.
And this is some of the earliest comics from Bendis, I believe.
Yep.
This is like older material.
This is older material.
Which is cool. We'll see another one later, but it seems like McFarlane's really going back into the annals of Spawn lore and really finally reprinting some of this older stuff, which is cool. Not just the Spawn main title stuff, but the spin-offs and things.
Right. And they've been doing a lot of these like big, thicker collections, like the compendiums and whatnot. So it's like if you want something like a companion to those regular McFarlane Spawn series, you get something up your alley with that as well. Joe, I want to know if you've been reading or read any of this at all. Napalm Lullaby. This is also another Giant Generator book, but this is Bengal joining him back on art again. The same creative team are on Death or Glory, which I love. This is going to collect issues 1 through 10, so this entire series is in here. Probably going to wait for the library/deluxe edition. But have you read this? And if so, what are your thoughts on it?
I haven't, but it does look really cool. It looks like the same with Gromit's sort of one where it looks really cool. So I'm holding out to read it all in one go. But I haven't heard too much about Napalm Lullaby. I know I've heard some bits and pieces about Gromit. So
yeah, Road Warrior meets Superman. Amazing synopsis there. I know we're all kind of tired of like what if Superman was bad kind of story. But if there's one creator I'd like to hear or read their version of that story, Rick Remender. He does his take on like cynicism of the world or different types of comics and things is one that's always like fun. Like cynicism is really hard to like balance. I think that could be those kind of stories can just be kind of annoying and like dark and like dreary or whatever, but Reminder does it in a great way, great balance that makes it like fun in a way. So I'm imagining that the story will probably be a lot of fun just the same, even though it's like a cynical take on Superman.
Right.
And I again, I can't wait to read this. Anything Reminder writes, I'm on board for.
I'm same here too, and it's I'm
Nice.
great. I'm glad you're enjoying them on, and I am very, very ecstatic to check out the series as well. Interesting stuff too. So we got two different sides, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with a reread. I don't think. Badger, some thank you. Hellspawn reprint is a reprint from 2011. I think I just looked it up. It apparently is. It was a hardcover at first, but the reprint is a trade paperback.
Oh, okay.
So interesting stuff there. All right, we got our first Ghost Machine book. This is Redcoat by Jeff Johns and Brian Hitch. This is part again of the unnamed universe, the same universe that spawns Geiger, Junkyard Joe, and this
That's
is
it
again.
so far.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those two, and this is
Wait.
part of their brand new line. Brian Hitch is on full-time interiors with Andrew Curry. Brad Anderson. Brad Anderson colors every single one of the Ghost Machine books except for Rockefellers, because it's just Manipool who draws and colors it. But this is a take on a British soldier back in the Revolutionary War that failed to assassinate then General George Washington.
Did you say the unnamed universe? They don't have it. I thought it was the Ghost Machine. Is it not Ghost Machine? That's just
No. The unnamed universe is a part, like a specific section of, like, that's what the universe is actually called. It's called unnamed.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were saying it hasn't been named yet.
Yeah.
So the unnamed universe is what Geiger, Junkyard Joe, and now
And-
Redcoat are in.
Yeah, now Redcoat are a part
But
of it.
Manipool's book that you just mentioned is not part of that.
No, it's
Yeah,
Joe,
that's
if you'd like to
separate.
explain the Tomasi side, I know you want to.
Okay, so Ghost Machine is just the imprint, but
Yeah.
not the name of the universe. Okay, I assumed Ghost Machine was also the name of the universe that these all fell into.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, there's like 4 different universes. Yeah, and so one of them is the unnamed universe.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Joe has been reading the Tomasi line of books with Manipool and Schneeberg on them, which are they're completely separate so far. Who knows when these titles are going to intersect, but
I read the first issue of Redcoat. It wasn't for me, I don't think, but I might go back to it someday.
Oh, did it paint the Brits in a bad light and it turned you off? Just kidding.
No, it's just something about the story didn't quite, and the character didn't quite grab me. And I'm never a huge fan of Hitch's art, to be honest.
Joe was like, "That's not how that happened."
But yeah, Joe read it and was like, "This is oh my gosh."
Well, I mean, if you want to know what, I mean, it's not like the character isn't similar to Hellblazer at all. But if you want to see that kind of like American creator writing a British character, then definitely try Redcoat. That's not why I don't like it. To be fair, just to clarify, I just mean like to sell it for other people.
It sounds like you're a little offended. Like Jeff Johns needs to hire a British writer to do a proper interpretation. No, I was just kidding, Joe. I was just giving you a hard time.
But yes, there is a DM cover with Redcoat as well as all of this. I probably will eventually get around to Redcoat at some point when they do it in the nice deluxe.
Right. Yeah.
Jeff Johns is now doing those, and Tomasi will get to do those at some point. Meltzer and the one other creator, the writers, or whoever they decide to get on board. But other people are also questioning, if you guys don't know about it, like it does say in the Geiger Volume 1 trade paperback and the deluxe edition that only portions of the 80-page giant were collected in there. And that is because some of the other parts of the Geiger 80-page giant were also lead-ins for other stories, one of them being Redcoat, and the material for that is collected in this trade paperback. So if you guys were wondering, oh, my Geiger thing is incomplete, I gotta wait for something else that's bigger, don't be worried. There are other stories, and they're going to be collected in these. So, and another cool thing, as Shandusuk mentioned, yeah, every single creator owns the book. Like, it's not just like Jeff Johns who owns Redcoat. It's Rob Lay, who the letterer for all the Ghost Machine titles. He owns it. Brad Anderson, the colorer, owns all like Rockefellers and Redcoat, Rook Exodus. Ivan Reyes also owns this. It's a pretty interesting cut. Like, everybody has like a piece of it to say, which I think is cool anyways, but alas. Here's an interesting one.
I can't wait for this.
Violator by Bart Sears and Alan Moore and Greg Capullo. Issues 1 through 3 are now collected or recollected here.
I'm not the biggest Spawn fan, but I am a huge Alan Moore fan. And I would love one day to have every Alan Moore book that he's ever written on my shelf. So I'm glad this is being collected. Because this is one of those things that, like, I don't think it's ever been collected in trade paperback. So it's one of those things that when I look up like Alan Moore's bibliography, I was like, well, I'm going to have to buy all these single issues and try to like compile them into my own little custom hardcover or something. Mm-hmm. This is one of those. So I'm glad that this has been collected.
That just means that we're going to get an every comic book Moore has ever written video from Tay on his channel.
I could do every one I have. I don't have everything he's written, but I've got a good amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait to see these pop up in solicitations too. Jean Remy. I know that like Rockefellers has been really fun for me so far. So
you said that's the Maniple book?
Yeah.
Francis Maniple's on that one. Francis Maniple
and
is amazing.
Rook has Jason Fabok, which is just glorious.
All fun stuff.
Oh, John.
Okay, this is my favorite series that's coming out of Image. I always feel biased saying this because every single thing that I've written or read from Kelly Thompson, at least for like the last 7-8 months, has ended up being like absolutely amazing. This is the second volume to Black Cloak, which is a crime procedural. This volume has a little bit of a time skip, so if you guys are wondering about the difference between volumes 1 and 2, volume 2 sort of pushes you up. Again, it is partly a time skip, but it's saga. It's saga-esque, and it's very, very much like the same blend of style you would get from like a Brubaker Phillips book. So it is one of my favorite crime procedurals out there. We'll get to the Brubaker ones in a minute, but this does collect 7 through 11, and it is $14.99.
When you say saga-esque, do you mean like because of the sci-fi?
Yeah, it's like the sort of vibe you get from it, I would say.
I'm trying to see. Volume 1 is on Hoopla, so I'm going to add that to my list.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Meredith McLaren on art is also spectacular. Spectacular.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, it was really cool to see how they, leveled up the series in the second arc, sort of built on it and brought something into it with the time skip and everything. Because
right,
I suppose with that saga comparison, that's a nice thing about having the time skip, that you can do something fresh and exciting.
Hoopla has the first trade paperback and then issue 9 randomly. No other single issues, but issue 9.
Interesting. I didn't know that libraries could hold single issues.
Well, the Hoopla digitally, they do single issues for some series, like Saga. Like when Saga came back, they're doing single issues for that. But most everything on Image puts out, all their collected editions are usually on Hoopla, even in that format. So like you only get a certain amount of checkouts you can do a month. So it's really cool to get like a compendium it counts as one checkout, but you get like 50 issues or whatever.
Interesting. Okay. I'll keep that in mind whenever I get back. I keep telling you I'll get Hoopla or like get to it around because all the books that are available there, but at some point I'll eventually get to it. Here we do have Criminal Volume 4, trade paperback, Bad Night. This is a new printing, $16.99, of course. Yes, Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. Partly due to the Prime series adaptation that is coming soon. and that is that's what we have. If anybody hasn't checked out Criminal yet, I know that we have the deluxe hardcovers, but you should at some point.
Shockingly, I have not read any Brubaker Phillips, but I need to desperately.
Oh wow, yeah, Joe. You
Yeah, I know.
Better to late than
I'd
never.
recommend the Reckless series. I think that's my favorite series from Brubaker Phillips, and it's super easy to dive into. There's only 5 graphic novels of them, but they're like thin, small graphic novels, and you can like read each of them in one sitting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very nice sit down books if you don't want to spend too much time on one. So, here's one from the Tynan House. It is Deviant Volume 2 with Joshua Hickson. This is the ending to this series, so we will probably get a deluxe hardcover out at some point. Issues 5 through 9 are collected in this trade paperback.
This was, well, it has been fantastic. I think the final issue was delayed to February. Yeah, so issue 8 was in October, and then issue 9 is in February. So I caught up on the first 8 issues, and I'm glad I read it digitally because I don't think I could have waited if it just cut off at 4 of the first volumes, if they can get a deluxe eventually. But really, like, creepy and atmospheric and unsettling stuff. I have no idea how it's going to wrap up in only one more issue. So I feel like sometimes like nothing much happens in each issue, not as like a bad thing necessarily. It just feels like there's like not enough issues to cover all the ground that needs to be covered. But I guess we'll see.
Okay. I'll keep
But yeah,
note
the art is
of
really
that.
cool.
Because I remember when I asked you or I'd asked Taylor like what his opinion on, because you had read Mimetic. I sort of felt like a little bit of the same with like the last bit of that hardcover, especially the ending too, where like sometimes like you can't, like Tynan takes too much time like explaining things, or just stuff hasn't happened. Actually, you know what? That's how I felt about Nice House on the Lake. So sometimes I mean it does happen, but I'll check it out at some point, I think. But yeah, we'll see how it wraps up, obviously.
Yeah, I think it'll be a nice one to sort of binge all the way through in a couple whatever, like I did, reading it all in one, apart from the final issue.
For sure. I know this has been one that you've been enjoying a lot.
Yes, yeah. Speaking of books that I'm enjoying,
so yeah, $14.99, issues 19 through 24.
Yeah, speaking of Deaded Class, this is Wes Craig going out on his own to write and draw his own series, right?
this is when I really hope that it gets like a nice compendium at the end, because I feel like that'd be a really good way to get people into the series, just to have the entire road or entire journey, whatever, in one book. It's a really cool, like, fantasy, burlesque inspired comic.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I'm really glad that Wes is getting a lot more sort of recognition after Deadly Class, wrapped up. And I read somewhere that he said that he had a DC project upcoming. Don't quote me on that.
But yeah, I think so. It hasn't been announced yet. He was teasing it.
Hey, maybe he's doing a new Legion of Superheroes.
Ooh, sign me up for that.
I would read that in a heartbeat.
Well, because it was really cool to see him do work on the All-In special issue.
That was my favorite part of like that latter half with Darkseid and New World Matter. Yeah, that's my jam. I hope we get both a deluxe and a compendium for this Juggernaut. It's been amazing. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the art's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. Nice bungalow by the creek. Well, who knows? We're gonna get a nice mansion by the ocean in the third part of that trilogy. We got King Spawn Volume 6. This is Todd McFarlane and Javi Fernandez on King Spawn. Although I do find this interesting because now Javi is on Batman and Robin, and he's still doing some of that series. So yeah, issues 31 to 36 are here. And yeah, for all the Lady Mechanica readers, this is Volume 8 by Joe Benitez and M.M. Chen with Suya for art. Devil in the Lake 1 through 4 is collected in here. Plastic Death and Dolls trade paperback is also getting this is a 5-issue series and a return for Doug Magner, Daniel Hilliard on art, coming out on the 19th of March, 1699, collecting the 5 issues of Plastic Death and Dolls. And part of the brand new line of Saga Digest, Saga Volume 2, $14.99 for all those people who are trying to get into comics. Said a bunch before this collecting.
Nice.
7 through 12. So if you are new to comics, this is one that you should absolutely get and pick up.
For sure.
Ultra Mega by James Herron.
Please tell me you guys have read at least the first volume.
Yes, it's awesome. Yeah.
So much fun. When the first volume came out, I was picking up in singles and it was so like just waiting. I was like, when they collect this, it has to be in a giant kaiju sized hardcover. And they didn't do it. But then James Herron said that there's going to be more story to it. So then I was like, okay, so maybe then they'll do the. So I'm waiting for a giant kaiju sized hardcover of this. It's such a fun story. If you're a fan of Dana Warren Johnson, James Herron's artwork's not too far removed from that kind of style. It's like kinetic and like scratchy and like wild. But this is just so much like crazy fun kaiju, like tokusatsu type story that I think anybody should be able to pick up and have fun with.
It is amazing. Yeah, James Herron is he's an amazing illustrator.
Mhm.
And it is just fun. Feels like he's perfect for the kaiju-esque
Oh yeah, for sure.
type of stories. So, and that's it for the solicitations for the month of March. And unfortunately, Omar is still shoveling, so he did not get to join today. But maybe
That's okay.
another day.
We held down the fort. We did our jobs.
Yeah.
We did indeed do it. But yes, chat, if you are still watching, I would like to ask you real quick, what are your guys' favorite or what are your guys' must pickups for this Indie Comics March preview solicitations? What are you guys? We'll go with Taylor first.
Mine is Gromit's for sure. The Reminder book. Like I said, I love Rick Reminder's writing, and then that's like the perfect vibe and story that I want to read that he writes. So that's, and again, like I said, I'll probably do it digitally because I'll wait for the inevitable Giant Generator hardcover for it to collect it. But once that comes out on Hoopla, I'll be there day one to read it.
There you go. Joe, how about you?
Probably Transformers. The hardcover. Excited to get those.
Yeah, it's Transformers for me. I'm not blinking twice. I'm gonna be getting. We'll see. Maybe I'll do a giveaway of it sometime. I'll buy both covers. Think about it. If I want to keep the blue hue of Optimus or keep my favorite Transformer in Starscream, we'll see. But yes, Manan says Black Cloak in Transformers. Neil Pereira, Transformers. Need to check out that Fu Action, but it will need the regular. The regular hardcover should be $100 USD, Brian. So there is a cheaper version of that. The $400 version has all of the prints and the added.
And I think the book itself is actually the same in both, right? Same size and everything.
The book itself is the same in both, but you get a lot more extras with art and whatnot.
It's not like it's not a smaller version or less content or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Shredder Dead and Moon Shadow are ones I haven't read and looking forward to. I want to check out a Vanguard. I love sports, man. I love sports anything, as you probably already know.
Well, what about the jousting motorcycle sport book?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one's a good one too. Transformers. A lot of love in the chat for Transformers. Does anybody know if G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, will get a deluxe edition, even though it isn't? I'm assuming it will because it's Skybound. Right?
I don't know. I kind of doubt it though, because of that universe, which is like the Larry Hama stuff, we've seen compendiums, and we've seen the hardcover compendiums of the previous material.
Mhm.
So I don't know, unless they have intentions to do deluxe hardcovers of that material eventually one day. I don't know if they will do this new A Real American Hero stuff. Maybe I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but I feel like they'd always keep it to trade paperbacks and then eventually compendium to match up with the other ones, because they released four volumes of the compendiums that collected all of the 150 or so issues that he originally did with Marvel. Then they have another 150 issues that he did with IDW to collect. I'm assuming that'll be another 4 compendiums, and then a 9th compendium. I assume it'll be the first of the Skybound stuff whenever they get to the point of packing in 50 issues, if they get to that point. But I don't know, because it doesn't seem like that's the focus either in their marketing and stuff. The Larry Hama stuff, they seem like they're mostly focused on marketing the EU stuff, but I could be wrong. But I see them just going trade paperback and compendiums for those.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'll agree with Taylor on that front. Honestly, after that reasoning, I can't disagree with that as well. Chrononauts, yeah, that library edition is a big one, especially for all the Sean Gordon Murphy fans, or Sean Murphy fans, I guess he's called now. Bit of a remender nut, but Black Cloak as well. Yeah, those are that Black Cloak I really wanted in the deluxe at some point. Fellhound is definitely created. Oh, for sure. But that is, I think, going to do it for this stream. I'd like to thank all of you guys who have stayed with us and talked with us, indie comics, everything and related. This is definitely one of my most looking forward to conversations with the panel over there. Also, Bunk Master B on comics will be joining us starting at the end of this month. So us four will be the panel full time, as our schedules and everybody else with allow it. Taylor, one quick question. Did you check out The Road?
The Road, what is that?
It's a good question.
It's such a vague title. Who's the creator on that?
But yes, James, if you are in the chat, you know what to do. But yeah, I would like to thank my panel once again. Taylor, where can they find you?
On The Road. Oh, okay. I know what he's talking about now. No, I have not yet. Thank you. And I recognize the viewer's name, and I was like, I know he told me about this comic, the Cormac McCarthy book. No, I have not. It's on my list though. But you can find me at Taylor Talks Comics on YouTube. James has got it right there. Please subscribe. I'm on the road to 3,000 subscribers. Also, Goodreads. Yes, thank you. Be my friend over there. And Blue Sky. James is the best. Discord. We can talk about comics over there too.
There we go. Find Tay there. And Joe, a good friend, where can they find you?
You can find me on social media on Blue Sky and Instagram at Joe Talks Comics and Joe Loves Comics, respectively. The podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and hopefully some other places at Joe Talks Comics, where I talk events about comics that we've been reading and enjoying lately. So yeah, thank you, Dom, for having me back. It's always good fun.
No, you're always welcome on these, my friend. Of course, you can find me on this very channel where I will be doing an overview of DC Finest Aquaman at some point tomorrow. I actually need to figure out when to time that and also how to time it. So I will be putting one up for this as well. You can, of course, find me on YouTube at Dom of X on YouTube, where I talk everything whatever comics related. You can also find me on Blue Sky, where I am semi-active on there now, and also revealed the Absolute Wonder Woman trade paperback cover. Comic Releases, of course, is where you can find all the documentation that we just saw today. And if you also would like to help out me and my channel, as well as the site, and help for server costs, you can also donate to our Patreon at just the lowly cost of $2 a month. You want to talk with me and other folks as well, we do have a Discord for all of that as well. I'd like to thank you guys once again for joining us. Stay healthy and fresh, Minties. Happy New Year, and we will see you at the end of the month.
See you guys.